Welcome to Creator Upload, your creator economy podcast. I'm Lauren Schnipper.
And I'm Joshua Cohen. Lauren,
Yes.
you're moving up in the world, out of the closet and into a library?
You know, I think what dawned on me is when you told me you were at, like, I think a school event or something, and somebody came up to you and was like, great podcast. What's the deal with girl in the closet? Like, was that what you said? Something like that happened?
Yes, totally.
And, like, I'm not mad. Like, I think the closet, it's kind of a thing. You could argue, like, well, she's talking about me. All press is good press, which I don't disagree with. But I'm just, you know what? She's trying some new things out. We'll see how it goes.
I like you trying some new things. That looks
I'm
great.
trying some new things out. So we'll see. So yeah, maybe I'm in the library. You don't know where I am. That's what I like. Could be anywhere.
A little bit of mystery, too.
Yeah.
Lauren, you're a Nate Bargatze fan, right?
I am. I've seen him live a couple times. One time was okay. One time was great. So I wouldn't say I'm like the big, I mean, I'm very familiar with his work, but yeah, I like him.
Yeah, incredible stand-up comic, has had this meteoric rise by having just like safe, family-friendly comedy. Just bringing it back into the home. Something you could say at a church.
Sure.
Most of the time. He's hosting the Emmys. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
I feel like it's going to be a good show, but you know who's not going to be there?
Tell me.
Any creators whatsoever.
Sure. Well, why would they? Are they on TV? I don't know. What is TV? Who are we? Where are we? Don't know.
What is entertainment too, right? But you know, YouTube's been doing this Emmys FYC push with a few of its big-time creators for the past couple years now. Like Neil Mohan didn't mention it at this year's Brandcast, but the Brandcast 2024 wrote an op-ed that I think was in Variety or Hollywood Reporter, one of those publications. And also at Brandcast talked about how YouTubers should win an Emmy. So if the Emmys are honoring the best of television and YouTube is the new TV, then YouTubers should be eligible for Emmy Awards.
Sure.
And
that
so
sounds logical.
Totally logical. So for the past couple of years, YouTube has brought around Michelle Khare, Sean Evans of Hot Ones, and Rhett and Link of Good Mythical Morning to do these mini for your consideration campaigns, FYCs, among Emmys voters to try to get them at least nominated for different awards. And you might have seen, if you're in the ecosystem, in the industry, these creators do a ton of press with like LA Times, Variety, Hollywood Reporter, again, these entertainment industry rags about their Emmy bids. And then the nominations came out yesterday. Guess who got no nominations?
And that was, but they didn't, you're saying they really pushed it in 24. Did they push it a lot in 25?
Here in 25 too, yes. It came less from top down, like Neil Mohan wasn't talking about it this year, but they still did a bunch of for your consideration campaigns, got them on the press tour.
Sure.
And then came up with no nominations at all. So Hot Ones was vying for a nomination in the Outstanding Talk Show category.
Sure.
Where they only had 3 nominees there, Kimmel, Colbert, and Stewart. They didn't even fill that category up.
Oof.
Michelle Khare was trying to get a nomination in the Outstanding Hosted Nonfiction Series or Special category, but she missed out to Conan O'Brien, Stanley Tucci, David Letterman, and more. And Rhett and Link wanted to try to get a nomination in the Outstanding Short Form Comedy Drama or Variety Series category for their Good Mythical Morning show, where it was just all basically web YouTube companions for unscripted TV shows like Jimmy Kimmel, Daily Show, and more. Just the kinds of things that the Television Academy has been nominating for the past several years, if not decades.
Listen, what I have to say about this is really boring. And not just what the words that are coming out of your mouth, but also just like, we know how this is going to end. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're going to eventually give the YouTubers a nomination. It's like, these are very old institutions that are trying to figure it out. And like, to give them not credit, but like, I feel like, you know, they're trying to maintain the integrity of the institution of the Emmys, as an example. And, you know, we're redefining what television means every day. And I think it's not unusual that this is going to take a minute for them to sort of catch up.
But the reason I brought this up is because I think there's been just a paradigm shift, obviously, in the entertainment ecosystem in the past, even just year with the ascendancy of YouTube.
Sure.
And like
YouTube on TV, I mean, connected TVs. Yeah.
Exactly. And I get why even last year, 2, 3, 4, especially 5 and more years ago, these creators would want to win an Emmy Award or at least be nominated, because with it becomes a certain amount of notoriety. They can potentially book bigger guests. They can potentially get better ad deals. And they can potentially do more stuff in television if that's what they want.
Sure.
But now that YouTube is like the gorilla in this room and commanding all the attention from viewers, I don't think they need this anymore. Like, they're doing fine with opportunities in Hollywood. They're doing fine with advertising dollars. And they're doing great with booking their own guests. And more of
YouTube
that
is
is just
doing fine with
flowing
all
into
that,
the
but
YouTube
like
ecosystem.
the individual creators can always use a boost. YouTube as a whole, is doing fine, but I think individual creators can always use more press and publicity and bigger brand deals and things like that. So I don't agree that that this wouldn't be a boon, and and one would assume, should somebody, a YouTuber or show on YouTube that originates on YouTube is nominated, it's going to mean it's like really good. Like Hot Ones is Hot Ones is going to be like my prediction is that Hot Ones will eventually be, like, should it stay on the air, the first one to be nominated, because to be honest, that show's amazing. Like, it's so good. It's just it's truly it's so unique and simple and good. So I think that I don't agree that this couldn't do something for individual YouTubers. For YouTube as a brand, not necessarily
I
matters.
get it. Look, it's not a bad thing. I just don't think it nearly means as much as it could have several years ago. And will continue to mean less and less as the ascendancy of YouTube and these individual creators on YouTube ascend with it.
All right.
Let's go on this news. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think this is very interesting. NeoReach did a study analyzing data from 3,000 creators with a combined reach of 1.1 billion followers. So here's sort of the high level. The creator economy has grown about 19% since the start of 2025. There are more than 127 million active creators. However, over 50% of creators earn less than $15,000 a year. And that percentage is increasing, partly because there's so many new creators that are entering the market. But here's what's sort of staggering is that only 5% of creators earn more than $200,000 a year. And new creators with less than, a year of experience, obviously are averaging that lower amount. And experienced creators, 4+ years, average over $100,000 a year, 5 times more than, new creators. So once you reach that $15,000 a year, that tends to, if you can get there, then usually you can sort of grow. That's sort of you tend to accelerate after passing that. Managed creators, so those with representation, earn about 3 times more than unmanaged creators, not surprising. And creators with their own brands, so not just like the channels, but have a whole brand, which is about 45% of the people who responded to this survey, earn 2 times more than those without. So I thought this was really interesting, not surprising, and I'm not mad at it. Like, I feel like it's something, maybe it'll deter some people from being creators because there's such a glut of content right now. But this is the truth. It's very hard to do this, and it's hard to do that and it's very hard to make money as a creator. It's not easy. It's not a no-brainer, and it's incredibly hard work. That's just a grind that never ends.
I thought that 15,000K threshold was really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see kind of the distribution of that. I'm guessing it's a big long tail towards that 15K too.
Sure.
50%.
Yeah, I think so.
The vast majority of people creating content are making probably several hundreds of dollars a year or less.
Yep.
But then if you're able to break out of that threshold, you can really kind of go for it.
You know what's interesting about that 15,000? I mean, it's not related, but related. So, when I was working in corporate development at Jelly Smack, I saw so many, obviously startups, and $15 million a year was also this really interesting threshold. Like, a lot of, in a different kind of way, a lot of companies would get kind of stuck. But if you could break through that 15 million, you were kind of on your way. You know what I mean? Like that 15 million, there was a lot that were there in terms of total revenue. Anyway, not related, but just made me think about it. Very interesting. Go on.
Are we starting a myth about 15 now?
Maybe.
In
a
business?
Myth? Maybe it's a meme. I don't think it's a myth. I think it's just what it is.
Lauren, there are also some interesting takeaways here among the demographics of creators. It found that the average male creator is making about $8,500 more per year than the average female creator. NeoReach also found some discrepancies between the earning capabilities of different genres of content creators, with the news, politics, and current event creators making the lowest among their counterparts, followed closely by art creators, and with musicians making the most, followed closely by food and drink creators, probably for the possibilities of them being able to sell different courses, some of their own materials, some of their own products, and just the universal appeal of food and drink and music to everybody. obviously news and political and current event creators are going to be at the lower end of the earning spectrum because the nature of the content limits them in terms of brand deals and other revenue generating opportunities there. But was interesting to see that breakdown by gender and then also by content vertical here. I'm wondering if another influencer marketing agency does this same study with the same quantity of creators, if they find similar results or dramatically different results.
Why are you trying to challenge these results? Do you take issue with some of these results?
No, I just think it's such a new ecosystem and industry and way of life for a lot of these people that probably the methodology for collecting all of this data isn't defined. And
I think the methodology is defined. I think what you're probably more speaking to is like with a cohort that they're probably surveying. But I think these results make a ton of sense to me, especially in the world that we live in now with TikTok. If this were a TikTok-free world, no comment on what I feel about that, then it would be odd. But there's so many creators on TikTok that make no money. That just, you know what I'm saying? And it's the ease of which to join that platform and start creating content and then call yourself, a creator is, the threshold is so low that like this makes a ton of sense to me.
Yeah, I guess you'd have to look into, they surveyed over 3,000 creators. What creators are more likely to respond to these types of surveys?
Yeah, and then it's like where and I would love, I guess, more information I would love to know is like on what platforms were those 3,000 creators? Like, are they on all platforms? Is it majority YouTube? Where are TikTok? Like, where are these creators?
Exactly. Looking forward to more of these in the future.
Great. Okay, next up, I think this is super interesting. Roblox has a new initiative where it gives creators sort of legally the right to make games based on major IP, like Twilight, Saw, Squid Games, Stranger Things. From Roblox, our vision is to empower all creators to easily partner with the franchises they love and bring the franchise's licensed IP into their experiences. How this sort of works is the IP owners can list their property on the platform, set usage rules for these developers, creators, and then they will just automatically collect monetization shares, and then they'll automatically be sharing in monetization. I think what's really interesting is that they can do this retroactively, and I don't think that people maybe understand how massively complex IP licensing historically has been. Like, time-consuming, legal fees, like months, if not years, if ever, has this stuff historically, been allowed to happen. I would say music is the prime example of where licensing is a nightmare, but like this is so huge and also historically, even if the IP owners wanted to do something like this, the technology just didn't allow it. So basically you were like, I'm just going to have to keep this up and I can't, as the IP owner, share in the profits at all, or I'm going to take it down. And then taking it down, the problem with that is that you're probably getting a ton of kind of free marketing, if you will, if you allow a creator that you like to use your IP, but you want to and should and have the right to like share in the profits. But historically, it hasn't been possible from like just a tech standpoint, just from the productability. So I think this is one of those. I don't think it seems like a small product change. You know how I love a small product change that it results in like really big, sort of like behavior changes. But I think that I want people to understand what a big deal this is. Like the simplicity of this cannot be sort of understated. I can't underscore more how the simplicity of this is sort of total game changing.
Right. So if you look at Epic and what they did with Fortnite is they let other IP owners come into the Fortnite world and let Fortnite players buy those skins and then do stuff with those skins. So you can essentially be Wolverine, a Marvel Disney-owned piece of IP, and pick up an AK-47 or what the equivalent of an AK-47 is and shoot a bunch of cartoon figures on screen, which seems wild when you put it on paper like that, but in practice, it makes total sense. I mean, Fortnite's nonviolent. In a way, there's no blood or anything, so it's more child-friendly. But this Roblox initiative is now taking that a step further and saying, hey, use our IP to build whatever worlds you want other players to play in, and let's both share in the revenue and profits together. And Lauren, you mentioned that this could happen retroactively too. So one of the biggest games recently on Roblox is this one called Blue Lock Rivals. Are you familiar with Blue Lock?
I'm not.
I know you don't let your kids watch any screens. It's just homework all day long.
Zero.
Blue Lock, though,
They're reading right now
is this
in other languages. Go on.
Blue Lock is this anime show about this soccer club in Japan. So presumably some unknown teen was watching the anime show, brought it onto Roblox, created this game called Blue Lock Rivals. Rivals is a very popular game on Roblox, just fighting game on Roblox. And so he just attached the Blue Lock IP to that. And recently it was reported that this anonymous 19-year-old who made this Blue Lock Rivals game in Roblox received a $3 million buyout offer in exchange for ownership from this company, Do Big Studios, which is trying to come in and scoop up all of these big popular Roblox games. So now, with the IP owner of Roblox getting on the platform, it could retroactively go back and say like, hey, this game's cool. And moving forward, we want a piece of everything that's coming from it.
Right.
Which is obviously less revenue for the game owners, but does provide them with some legal protections and some just sense of security that they're not all of a sudden going to get shut down in the near future.
Well, this is a very, sort of modern way of looking at IP. And I would say the first time I sort of heard about this was, it's a while ago, probably like 8 or 9 years ago, when Amazon, I think it was Neil deGrasse Tyson, saw all of this stuff that was sort of with his likeness on Amazon being sold. And he went to Amazon and said, hey, I don't want to take all this down. I'd like to pick the best, create a storefront, and share in the profits. And the Amazon created a program, and there were like there were old school creators that were a part of the launch. I remember Annoying Orange, Shane Dawson, like all these people were a part of that. And it was like, I remember thinking it was so kind of revolutionary, but like a lot of people didn't really pick up on it. And then I remember there was a startup that I looked at, I want to say in like 2019, it was called Trash. It was a video platform that I think was acquired by Vimeo. Don't quote me, but I'm pretty positive. And they were creating this video platform that was going to have built-in kind of IP sharing rights kind of inside of the platform from jump. They weren't going to like go into like, a new video platform thinking like it's all or nothing in terms of IP. And I remember thinking like, thank you. We've been waiting for like a platform to sort of do this. And then, so this is like, I mean, I guess it's not a new idea, but it's been very slow the platforms finally got on board in terms of the way they deal with, rights management and things like that. But it took a long time. And like, because historically, going back to like our Emmys conversation, these old school institutions, like it was like, you need to pay me all the money to do all the things or you cannot use this at all. I mean, that's just what it has been for 100 years. So we're really like, this is a very, in the grand scheme of like IP, this is a very new concept.
I think it totally makes sense too if you look at it in terms of piracy, which was plaguing Hollywood studios and video games because it was so expensive or so hard to get access to the movies you wanted to see. It was easier to go on Pirate Bay and just torrent them, right?
Yeah.
So now, especially in the age of AI, if a 19-year-old has a choice of making a video game from IP that's inaccessible, that he could get in trouble for later, or working with some pre-existing IP on a platform where he can make a lot of money from. What that's going to do is just change the calculus of what these next 19-year-olds are going to incorporate into their games. They're going to use IP that they can profit from and probably stay away from IP that they know they could get in legal trouble for, which is just going to make that IP that plays in this ecosystem way more popular down the road.
For the record, I might not know who that other Japanese anime cartoon is, but have you ever heard of Captain Tsubasa?
I'm not an anime aficionado.
I mean,
I'm just not in it yet. I'm just not in it.
My 8-year-old is obsessed with it, and it's all about revolving around sort of football, and it's really intense. And
so he would love Blue Lock too.
I'm just telling you, he's like, I'm just telling you. So I'm aware of like Japanese anime soccer series.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. I didn't know there was more than one. Crazy.
Oh yeah. No, it's like, and like, I mean, I'll be in the other room and I'll hear like Tsubasa. Yeah. When I let them watch TV.
Is it on right now? Did you just turn it on?
It's so crazy, right?
Yeah.
It was weird. When I let them watch the 5 minutes of TV a week. Okay. Next up, we're going to have Sam Gutelle from TubeFilter joining us to talk about what is hot in the YouTube charts.
Sam, welcome back to the podcast. Longtime TubeFilter writer with such accolades as being referenced on the Skibbity Toilet Wikipedia page. Among also low-key being perhaps, seriously, one of, if not the most knowledgeable person in the world on what's trending on YouTube. In part because Sam is the author of our weekly TubeFilter charts section on TubeFilter, where he covers the top 50 most subscribed, most viewed channels on YouTube every week, and also does a bigger top 100 once a month. Sam, welcome back to the podcast.
Josh, Lauren, thank you for having me.
So we were talking about this on our editorial call, and I want to bring you on to talk about it. It seems like Jesus and God is having a big moment on YouTube.
Oh, it's about time.
You know, first it was Spider-Man, and then it was Elsa, and now YouTube has moved on to arguably the most famous pop culture character in history, and that would be Jesus Christ of Nazareth.
And so tell me what you're seeing. Like, what brought you to this conclusion?
This really started last year. You started to see, just in general, people talking about religion more on YouTube Shorts. There was this channel called Hassel June, this creator in Korea who is a Korean Muslim and was just sharing his perspective as part of that religious minority. And this really changed earlier this year, started ramping up with the health issues and eventual passing of Pope Francis and Pope Leo's ascension to the papacy. And that's when you really started to see a few different kinds of Christian videos starting to trend on YouTube Shorts. The first broad bucket here is the AI Slop Christian content, where it is usually a dashing, handsome Jesus saving a dog or a cat or some other cute co-star. You know, these AI channels just love to take every trending keyword on YouTube Shorts and smash it together in one video. And that's how you have channels like God Loves Dogs, an AI Slop channel that added 540,000 subscribers in a single week back in May 2025, so about 2 months ago. And the second big bucket that you have is just religious figures, Christian religious figures who are starting to use YouTube Shorts to spread their gospel. And so Bispo Bruno Leonardo out of Brazil is the big one here during the month of January 2025. So again, that was right around that period of papal succession. Bruno got 4.7 million subs added to his channel in the month of January. And actually what we just covered in our top 50 charts last week is that he has a second channel now, Bispo Bruno Leonardo SM. And both that channel and his main channel are now ranking among the top 50 most subscribed channels on YouTube week in and week out.
Yeah, Sam, you're totally right. It seems like these channels are just hitting the groove. And I mean, Jesus is some incredible IP to exploit. It's well known across the world and it's royalty free. So one of the AI Slop channels, Imperio de Jesus, you mentioned, has added over 3 million subscribers close to it within the last 3 months and is netting over almost netting 100 million views a month. Meanwhile, the Hand of God, which is more like what if an AI Slop channel was live action, is getting 1 billion views a month since May. Now has over 9.7 million subscribers, the vast majority of that added within the last 3 months. And then Bispo Bruno Leonardo's main channel is Bumpin' 2. It now has over 58 million subscribers. It's been tacking on 2-3 million subscribers a month over the last year, and recently hit a groove where it's been getting 250 million views a month or more over the last several months.
I think that this is really an offshoot of a few other trends that are taking over YouTube Shorts. One thing that's pretty well known is this rise in moralistic content, in very black and white moral content, videos where it's often set in a classroom and a class clown or a bully will do something immoral and then will receive some sort of karmic comeuppance before the end of the video. The creator who's most associated with this is Darman, based out of LA, who's becoming not just a huge creator, but an entrepreneur and is launching this whole studio to make these types of videos. So if you think about moral videos becoming one of the big things on Shorts, obviously Christianity, with its strong basis in moral certitude, is going to be trending up as well.
This is fascinating. I really like that through line. Lauren, it makes you think, are we going to the right place on Fridays and Saturdays?
Well,
At least I'm going. Can you tell for the kids AI slop is? Because I feel like that is a very specific thing.
Yeah, AI Slop are these videos generated by large language models, by generative AI, that basically use this very particular style, very crisp and 3D imagery, that can create any scenario you want. So if you want Jesus to be saving a dog that's been stranded on a deserted island, OpenAI's Sora, for example, is one of the things that could make that video for you.
Lauren, I think if you have a picture in your head of this, it's imagine pigs at a trough and someone's just dumping in buckets and buckets of AI videos. Because they're so easy to do.
I understand.
You get it now?
Okay. I get it. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Sam, this is great. Thank you for the informational tutorial. Looking forward to have you back.
Yeah, would love to be back because let me tell you, it only gets weirder from there. There's nothing normal on YouTube Shorts right now.
And maybe we can, like, as just a North Star, we can see if you can get a quote on the Jesus Wikipedia page.
Oh, the dream.
Well, that's coveted real estate, but I'll see what I can do.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks, Josh. Thanks, Lauren.
Thank you so much, Sam. Appreciate that. Excited for you to get some better lighting in your house. Next up, uploads, downloads, Josh. This I find, I don't know, this is the type of stuff I nerd out on so much. So YouTube upload, I think, is replacing its trending chart with new charts that are going to show micro trends, because there's so many diverse communities. So a little bit of history. There's been a long active sort of hub that compiles like popular content across the platform, which, when we were starting out and there were not, whatever that stat was today, 125,000 million creators, having one central location for YouTube where, you could see what was like trending, what was really popping, made a ton of sense. Now there's more genres than you and I even could list, all day. And so people want to find those communities and what is popping off in those communities and those genres and etc. I mean, the fact that it's taken them this long to do this is a little bit insane. And so it makes a ton of sense. It reminded me a lot of, you and I remember very well, the YouTube Rewind, which was a video that was produced by our friends at Portal A that happened yearly. And I think the last year was like 2020 or 2021. And it sort of was this awesome video that captured like all the big stars from YouTube that year. And it was a whole thing about like who got in it and who did they snub. It was like almost like, those like memorandum videos at the end of like the Oscars and they're like, oh my God, they didn't include like whatever person. It was like the opposite because these people weren't dead. And it was like, who did not get included? And it was a really big deal to be in it. And it was cool in the way they produced it. And it was like a whole thing. But it got to, I remember talking to the Portal A guys being like, yeah, why did that stop? And of course it stopped because it's like, you can't do that today. You could do one individual one for each one of the sort of micro communities and genres on YouTube, but that would take forever. So, I think one of the problems with YouTube is like always been like trying to find, series and like content. They're better at it, right? Like, cause like the algorithm and stuff like that. But if you really just want to know what are the top 10 and like really nerdy, like gardening videos, like I want to know what that is, that's going to never be able to compete with like a Coco Melon, and all the Coco Melons of the world. So this makes a ton of sense. It's a little bit, overdue and should be on the cover of Josh's favorite Noda magazine. But I'm very excited. I think this is going to be cool. And I think people are going to like compete to get on these like, individual charts.
I get it. I do miss the idea of having one central location where you can just go to see what is trending on YouTube.
But that's, I mean, you're affecting, YouTube is Google. Google is the internet. It's effectively being like, what's trending on all of the internet?
Right,
like,
exactly.
You can't do that now.
It was cooler when YouTube was a kind of niche cultural community.
Yeah, and we're not anymore, Josh. We're mainstream now.
It will probably be a better construct for them to have these little niche charts moving forward. They have one for podcasts. They have one for movie trailers. They have one for music. They hinted that the next one's going to be gaming. We'll see how long before that gets out. But yeah, it would be cool to go see the top gardening videos on YouTube and have one central repository for that location. I'm down. Lauren, quick upload from me. So the World Cup is coming in 2026 to North America too. The final is going to be, minutes from my house here in New Jersey. But in South America, specifically Brazil, something really cool is happening. So Kaze TV, which is operated by this individual, Casimiro Miguel, has 22 million subscribers on YouTube. They just did this deal with FIFA to get the rights for the entire 2026 FIFA World Cup. So it will be broadcast on his YouTube channel alongside wherever else it's being broadcast in Brazil too. And he's going to provide commentary to it, similar to like Eli and Peyton Manning do the Manning cast for some football games where they'll be the broadcasters alongside the game. So will Miguel alongside all of these FIFA matches. This just shows you kind of the power and distribution of creators, and more specifically creators on YouTube, and how these big rights and IP holders are going to them now because they know that's where the audiences are. I think it's a really cool kind of like flag that denotes just how important this ecosystem has become.
Yeah, for sure. That's really cool. All right, Josh, I think we did it.
Lauren, I think that's it. I'll see you on Roblox trying to petition to get the rights to Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia? Sure. Yeah.
Mamma Mia? Phantom? Cats? Which one you want?
I mean, Les Mis is my favorite musical of all time.
There we go.
Thank you.
Do it. Roblox environment coming from Lauren Schnipper soon on that. And if not there, see you next week on Creator Upload. Today's show was produced by Lauren Schnipper, Joshua Cohen, that's me, and Adam Connor. It's edited by Adam Connor too. Original music is by London Bridge. You can check him out on Instagram at London Bridge Music. Make sure you subscribe to Creator Upload right here on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts as well, Spotify, or wherever you're listening. While you're there, give us a rating and leave us a comment. If you want to talk, hit us up at info@creatorupload.com. If you like our show, recommend it to a friend. If you love it, just tell everyone. Thanks for listening to Creator Upload, and we will be back next week.